Hello everyone, thank you for joining us. During this presentation, I will be giving you information related to living in Malta. At the end of this presentation, I will also share with you our contact details in case you would like to contact us for more information. So let's start the Maltese culture. So just for you to get accustomed with the Maltese society. So the Maltese society is influenced by Mediterranean, European and British traditions. In fact, we have two official languages, which are Maltese and English. In Malta, family and community are very important to us. Religion also plays a very important role in Malta, with most Maltese identifying as Roman Catholic. Social interactions in Malta are generally very friendly and informal. Village traditions and religious celebrations remain an important part of everyday life in Malta. The Maltese economy. So Malta has a small but highly diversified economy based on various services and other international businesses. Malta joined the European Union in 2004 and we have been using the euro as our main currency since 2008. Key economic sectors in Malta: financial services, tourism, iGaming, digital industries, maritime and aviation services, film production and creative industries. These are the main economic sectors in Malta. Tourism remains to be a major contributor, attracting millions of visitors annually to Malta. Malta has one of the lowest unemployment rates in Europe, and Malta has a very strategic location in the Mediterranean, makes it a business and logistic hub between Europe, North Africa, and also the Middle East. Accommodation in Malta. So in Malta, most rental accommodation is privately owned, and properties for rent can be found online on various real estate agents' websites, which can also be found on Google. Rent in Malta is normally paid in advance, with 1 month's rent paid as a deposit when you first move in. The rental cost varies a lot because this will vary on the size of the apartment and on the location of the apartment, but just to give you an idea, the average rental price of a two-bedroom apartment in Malta is around 1,500 euros per month. It is important to keep the accommodation costs in mind and compare it to the salary that you're going to have while working in Malta. The cost of living in Malta. So there is no doubt that the prices in Malta are going up just like any other EU country, but most foreigners still find it very reasonable to live here, especially when they compare the cost of living of Malta to other European countries and capital cities, for example. Rent prices in Malta are also rising. However, it is still possible to live cheaply here as long as you make your own homework before you move here and compare some towns and villages before you actually decide on an apartment, because some places which are away from the pricier touristic areas will be much cheaper to live in. Prices for groceries will vary depending on where you shop. If you go to the supermarket, it will be very affordable, but some supermarkets are more expensive than others. But you will learn this once you are living here. You will notice that some supermarkets are more expensive than others. And fruit and vegetable trucks can be found in Malta, in every town and village. And these are one of the cheapest way to get your fresh fruit and vegetables. Just to give you an idea of the prices of everyday items in Malta, I have prepared a table for you just for you to take a look and have an idea. For example, white bread costs around €1.18. Local cheese costs around €9.43 per kilo. Oranges, tomatoes. Um, some people say it's still very, very affordable to live in Malta, but of course, as I have said, do your own homework, and once you will start living here, you will start to learn where to buy your everyday items from as well. Utilities in Malta. So the prices for utilities in Malta are very manageable. Electricity, heating, water and gas cost around €92.88 per month. Of course, this is just an average because this will depend on how much you are consuming. This is just to give you a rough basic idea. Water and electricity in Malta is supplied by different companies, but both are then controlled by the same organization. So if you go to arms.com.mt, this handles the accounts for both electricity and water in Malta. Local councils in Malta deal with waste removal, and we do not have taxes in Malta related to this. Waste Serve Malta's website has useful information about which waste is collected when and from where, because different types of waste is collected during different days of the week and at different times. So if you go to the Waste Serve website, if you just type in Waste Serve Malta on Google, it will come up. This information is also provided by your local council. Gas, in the form of propane cylinders in Malta, is used for heating and cooking, and the main gas suppliers in Malta are Liquigas and Multigas. And just to give you an idea, a 15-kilo gas cylinder costs around 18.75, and this will typically last you for about 2 to 3 months if it is just used for cooking, again depending on how much you are using it. Public transport in Malta, so buses remain the most useful of Malta's public transportation system. A night service also exists, which operates between 11 in the evening and 4 in the morning and on selected routes. Once you are living in Malta, you can purchase the Talinia card. This is available for free for residents, and you can also make use of the bus for free once you have the Talinia card. But if you come here as a tourist, you will need to pay a very, very small fare for using public transport. A ferry service also exists between Sliema and Valletta and Malta, and you can also use your Talinia, your bus card, to use the ferry service in Malta. More information can be found on the Public Transport Malta website, which is publictransport.com.mt. Owning a car. So if you are going to move to Malta and you still decide to bring your car with you, these are a few points which you must keep in mind. So in Malta, we drive on the left-hand side of the road. You may choose to bring your own car from another EU country, and the car, in this case, must always be insured to be driven in Malta. Non-residents can drive a car with foreign plates for up to 6 months from your arrival. However, as soon as one is a resident in Malta, which means that you have obtained your residence card once you start working here, then you need to register your vehicle locally. Whilst the application is being decided, you need to have a temporary driving permit. More information can be found on the Transport Malta website, which is transport.gov.mt. Education in Malta. So in Malta we have state schools, church schools, and also independent schools. So state schools are free to all students, and these can be found in all main towns and villages in Malta. The school material is also provided to students for free. Parents will all only need to buy the school uniform. Church schools, on the other hand, do not charge school fees. However, they ask for an annual donation to help with school costs. School supplies and uniforms will also need to be paid by the parents. Independent schools. Here, and for independent schools, parents pay school fees for these institutions, and they also pay for school supplies and uniforms. Now, school transport is offered to and from schools in Malta for free, and it is irrelevant whether your children go to a state school, church school, or independent schools. And school transport is offered for free to all students by the government. Childcare in Malta. So, if you have a baby aged between 3 to 4 months up to 3 years, you can send your child to childcare for free if you are working. For working parents, childcare is offered for free in Malta. You have the childcare scheme link over there. If you just type in Jobs Plus free childcare scheme, more information will come up on Google and you can access more details about the free childcare scheme in Malta. I have also prepared a table for you to understand how schools are organized in Malta. So between the age of 3 to 5 years, then your child starts going to kindergarten. So they finish the childcare and then they enter kindergarten. Between 5 up to 11 years, they start the compulsory education. Between 11 up to 16 years, then they start the secondary school, which is the end of compulsory education. Between 16 up to 18 years, then they go to post-secondary school. And then from 18 years and over, they can go to tertiary school, for example, university. And even at this stage, education is offered for free to students. And students also receive a monthly stipend in Malta to help towards costs such as books. Bank accounts in Malta. So once you start living and working in Malta, your employer will ask you for your bank account details so that they will be able to issue your salary. So once you're working here, you need to open a local bank account. All banks in Malta have different processes when you go and ask about the procedure of how to open a bank account. However, the most common documents which banks ask for when a new national attempts to open an account here in Malta are a photographic identification document, for example, your passport, proof of address in Malta, for example, your rental agreement, if you have a referral letter from your bank at home or your country where you last lived, this would be of great help. So before you leave your country, ask your bank for a referral letter. If you are already working, a copy of the employment contract will be needed. Socializing and networking, so I understand that it can be very overwhelming when you move into a new country and you don't know where to go during the evening or during the weekend. So these points will help you to integrate better into the Maltese culture. So Malta has a strong international and expatriate community. If you are active on social media, especially Facebook, there are many pages and groups for expatriates living in Malta, which you can join, and this will help you to keep an eye out for any events taking place for expatriates in Malta. A lot of events are organized continuously, and these are advertised on these expatriate community groups. Networking opportunities in Malta also include professional events, industry conferences, local business groups, and so on. Popular social hubs in Malta include St. Julian, Sliema, and Valletta because one can find a lot of bars, pubs, restaurants, nightclubs in these areas, and these are very popular with tourists. Joining sports clubs, doing some kind of volunteer work, or attending cultural events also helps you integrate with the local community and meet local-minded people. Many professionals in Malta also connect through co-working spaces and other networking groups. So that's all from my end. These are our contact details in case you have any questions for us. Our email address is eures.jobsplus@gov.mt. Our websites are jobsplus.gov.mt and eures.com.mt. We are available on live chat every Friday on the EURES portal, and we are also available on social media. If you type in EURES Malta on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, you can find our pages if you wish to contact us through our social media. Thanks a lot. Until next time, bye bye.